What up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is SWAT MMA. My name is Jarrod. I'm here with Paul.
What up?
Episode number 166. And today we're going to be talking with the BKFC Women's Flyweight World Champion, Christine Faria, fresh off of her title defense at the massive BKFC 41 Denver show just 2 weeks ago. Paul and I are also going to take a look ahead to BKFC 43, headlined by Houston Alexander, who is on an amazing run, as we discussed last time he was on the show. We're also going to be looking at some UFC action as well as boxing. But first, before we get to the combat sports, you know what time it is. Grab your sack, fire it up. Let's get into the weed of the week.
Smoke weed every day.
All right, so this week we have Amnesia Trance. It's a rare sativa dominant hybrid strain created by crossing Super Silver Haze with Cambodian Haze. Yeah, this one is pretty fire. It's a 65% sativa, 35 indica. So
Tastes great, man. I'm digging this a lot.
yeah,
Super Silver Haze is one of my favorite sativas. I'm a sativa smoker, is what I prefer. That one's always fucking good. I don't know nothing about Colombian Haze, frankly, but this is a nice blend. First time I'd seen it in a dispensary. This is made by or grown by Phantom Farms. Not a cultivator I'm familiar with, but as a first time trier of this one here, it's pretty good. The cure time was good, 30 days. The bud tastes nice. It's fucking cured. It's not too dry, and it's got a nice taste.
yeah, I like it. Cool thing I think about like these sativa dominant hybrids is you get what you're looking for, but you also get a little bit of that indica, like, body feel also with it. That's why, like, sativa dominant hybrids at the end of the day, they're the best.
Yeah, this is like basically a 2-to-1 sativa, at that percentage, which is, I think, a good mix too.
Yeah.
We got the bubbler here. You got some other weed you brought with you too. What is it?
Yeah, some biscotti.
Just some biscotti. That's a classic strain we've had on the show a whole
We've
bunch
had
of
a few
times.
times.
Not going to break that down too much. But of course, this segment, as usual, brought to you by Binoid. You can get the best deals on their CBD and their legal Delta 9 THC from hemp products. If you go to our website, SWAT MMA, and you click on the cool stuff button, follow the links from there. You'll get 15% off, and you'll help the show out a bit as well.
Yes, sir. So let's dive right into it. So over the weekend, we had some pretty solid fights over at in Charlotte with the UFC. Let's talk a bit about it. So
Yeah, let's get this UFC stuff out here, because honestly, it wasn't the greatest.
wasn't the greatest, but I do think we had some like legitimate breakout performances. When you talk about we had Ian Gary taking on Daniel Rodriguez, who's a real tough opponent. He's
Yeah.
fought a lot of the toughest guys in the division, and I thought was really that next step up and next rung of the ladder for Ian Gary, and he passed with flying colors. I mean, he
Dude,
looked
I'll
terrific.
keep it real. I thought Rodriguez stood a good chance of beating him here. I wasn't
did too.
really sold on Gary. Obviously, he's good, but I didn't know he was. Rodriguez hasn't been finished in 26 fights.
Yeah,
We've never seen him stop like that in the UFC, even come close.
yeah,
And he just put away in one round. It was super impressive. And another thing I found impressive was just a few weeks ago on a podcast, Ian Gary said he was going to get that high head kick knockout. He said, if I get a knockout any other way, it'll be an accident. If I get it with that high head kick, calling it right now.
Well, not only that, and I thought what he did the best when you talk about his performance as a whole is his ability to keep Rodriguez at bay, because he's kind of known for pressuring guys and just being in your face. And I thought that Gary just never let him get started, never let him get anything going, and he just kept him at this distance where everything that was brought to him came with a hole, and he just found the hole in every single thing that Rodriguez was doing and put him away quick.
Yeah, it was super impressive. For me, that was the highlight of the show. We had Johnny Walker taking on Anthony Smith. And look, I was confused about Smith's high ranking. Look, I like the guy. We've met him. He's great. He's had a good career. I don't think he should have been ranked, what, fifth going into this? I was a little
I think he
surprised
was
at
even
that.
higher than that. I think he was third and Walker was fifth.
That might have been it. It was 3-3 in his last six. He was coming off a TKO loss.
Yeah.
And this fight, I was not surprised by Anthony Smith's performance. Is kind of what I was expecting. I was surprised by the measured nature of Johnny Walker's victory.
Yeah, I think this was one of the most technical fights we've ever seen Johnny Walker put on. I thought he really did a good job of not getting overzealous and leaving himself open for anything that Anthony Smith had for him. I just thought it was a good performance by Johnny, but as I predicted over text, we were talking about how his patience is going to be ridiculed by Dana White because he's known as this big, exciting knockout guy. That now this time when he was a little bit more patient and a little bit more methodical, it was going to come with criticism. And just like that, the first thing Dana says was he thought it was not very impressive, which I very much disagree with. I thought that was the best version of Johnny Walker we had ever seen.
Yes, because what Dana likes to do is just look at things inside the little bitty bubble of this one fight. If you don't count anything else and you don't know shit about either fighter, you
Yeah.
can see where Dana was like, oh, he didn't have a killer instinct. He didn't put him away. He could have done more. But if you look at the whole picture and you see the type of fighter that Johnny Walker has been, he has that Cody Garbrandt syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, where he gets wild,
blood.
he does some stupid shit. When he smells blood, he winds up getting knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
So for him to be able to rein that in when someone's clearly in danger and instead be careful, because Anthony Smith, I might throw a little shade at his ranking in the beginning of this. Dude's a good fighter. He's a dangerous dude. He could have knocked him out. And instead he was, you just played it safe. Was it what I want to see every time? No, not from every fighter. Was that what I wanted to see from Johnny Walker? Actually, yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think that shows an incredible maturity on his part that'll pay off in the future.
Not only that, I think it just shows that it's a step in the right direction for him. Now he's kind of streaking towards possibly a title shot. We saw him and Hill fight in the past. It was ultimately a knockout victory for Hill, but it was a situation where kind of what we were just alluding to, where Johnny actually did have Hill hurt early in the fight, got overzealous, left himself open, and got hit with some big shots as well that ended up being his undoing. So now, as you see him ascend back into title contention, I think that was a big step in the right direction for him.
Yeah, definitely. I believe he's still training with SBG Ireland, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's paying off.
Kavanaugh was calling for him to finish it too. He was like, put him away. But it was just the methodical nature of that, keeping that jab up front, hitting him with those low leg kicks. I thought it was good.
Dude, it was good because, and not to get too repetitive of what I just said, but he's got that rush in instinct that has harmed him in the past. For him to rein that in and be like, no, I'm going to play it safe. Mm-hmm. Smart. Good.
Yeah.
Just improve on it better. Now all he's got to learn is there's going to be times when you do want to unleash that. Yeah. So I don't want him to keep doing that. In the future, we want to see him fucking go ahead and go for the kill there.
Well, and it's not even necessarily going for the kill or not going for the kill. I think it's more of keeping yourself dangerous but still protected at the same time. You know what I mean? It's not about just never ever going for, putting yourself out there. It's about putting yourself out there but also having the defensive acumen and the mental state of knowing that you're still in danger with a guy like Anthony Smith, who has been there, done that, and fought some of the best guys in the division and had been there before.
Yeah.
You just can't get stupid. There's a difference between getting wild and getting stupid. When you get wild, sometimes it turns out great. But when you get stupid and just start winging punches, that's how people get finished.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the main event.
Yeah.
Yair Rozenstruik versus.
His first name is hard to say. I know his last name's Almeida.
Yeah, it was Almeida. I was just going to go with Almeida. I just had to get a drink there. This desert air out here is brutal. It's already like 100 degrees in May.
Yeah.
Look, he came out there and Rozenstruik gets dominated. We get a submission victory from Almeida.
A ton.
This guy's small for a heavyweight. but he's using his size quite well. I mean, he doesn't seem to be lacking in the strength department. He took the much bigger Rosenstruck down with ease, and basically put a clinic on him real quick.
Yeah, I thought it was just his ability to not only keep Rosenstruck down, but he still was active as well as technical. You know what I mean? He was still on top. He was landing his elbows, landing his strikes enough to where he would find openings and move to the next position. And, land a couple big strikes, move to the next position. And then ultimately, when he ended up getting the full amount, it just took a couple hammer fists for Rosenstrike to give him his back. As soon as he gave him his back, it was night night. There was no way that he was not
Yeah.
gonna get the finish there.
I've never been sold on Yair as a top level heavyweight. I mean, everybody at heavyweight has got that power for the most part. But so I'm not really surprised at the victory here. I'm not really sold on Almeida as a top level contender either. We'll see. He could be, but I don't think this is the great test that he needs to have. Things are strange because we might we might get that Stipe John Jones fight at heavyweight and then watch both of them exit the sport, which leaves Almeida in, with guys like Sergey and some others, these younger heavyweights that could take that as an opportunity to really rise up in the rankings with one more solid victory, say for Almeida. He could be right up there in the mix with Sergey.
Well, I mean, coming into the UFC and winning off of the Contender Series and now winning 5 in a row is just in the heavyweight division is huge.
Yeah.
Talking about a guy who has 18 fights. I'm not 18 fights. 20 fights in his career, 2 losses, but 18 wins. 12 of those by submission, and 14 of those 12 coming in the first round. So the guy obviously is just an animal,
At this pace, he and Sergey are going to be the future of the division.
And that's what's
We'll
funny
see.
about that too. They're just so different when you talk about how they get it done.
Yeah.
They both finish well. They both have devastating, obviously jiu-jitsu in Almeida's case and striking in Pavlovich's case. But the way they get it done, Almeida's more of a he's going to take you down, he's going to pass your guard, and he's going to choke you the fuck out. Whereas like Pavlovich is, I'm going to walk you down and I'm going to knock you out. So with them being on this, collision course, which is kind of where if things keep going the way they are, they're gonna be. It's gonna end up in a classic, striker versus grappler matchup.
Interesting things. It's good to see some young blood in this division, though, getting wins against some of these older guys. Because, God bless guys like Curtis Blades and all. I'm just getting a little tired. And Derek Lewis. I'm tired of these names. Let's get some fresh fucking meat in there.
Yeah, and Almeida's one of those guys too, like you alluded to a little bit before. His frame is like a light heavyweight, but he is at heavyweight.
Yes,
So.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think that about wraps up card out in Charlotte. It's pretty solid.
It was a good
It's on
time.
ABC, so probably got some of the casual eyes, which I really is part of why I don't like what Dana was saying after.
No, but the biggest winner of the night, so to speak, is going to be Ian Gary with those eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
Solid victory. He's good on the mic afterwards.
Yeah.
We'll see what's next.
Called for a fight with Neil Magny.
I like that call out, actually. That's
I
good.
do too.
That's good. All right, we're welcoming back to the show the BKFC's Women's Flyweight World Champion, fresh off of a title defense at the big BKFC 41 2 weeks ago, Christine Faria. Welcome back to the show, champ. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So it's been 2 weeks since what is without a doubt the biggest event that BKFC has ever put on. You had an amazing performance getting the victory against Bec Rawlings, and we would love to just talk a little bit about first, how did you feel going into that fight? It was a big event. How was your fight camp? How were preparations for you?
Going into that fight was surreal because I got to fight alongside such great talent, legends in the sport. Chad Mendez, Alvarez, and then we had Perry, and it's cool to be on that platform alongside them, but I know they're hard to follow. They're hard to. Those guys go and they're beasts. So I already knew for the whole camp that it was gonna be that I was preparing for war, because I wanted to have a super exciting fight. I didn't want to be so technical. I wanted to be smart, but I wanted to put on a show, and I wanted to be able to take that damage if need be. You know, I wanted to get in there. I wanted to get bloody. I wanted to get, you know, I wanted to get in there. So it was a grueling camp in terms of sparring. It was tough. I had a really, really, really tough sparring opponent, partner, and he tore me up, and he tore me up the whole camp. He was the pressure fighter, so I mean, I didn't work. I worked more on pressure. So, you know, she came with a lot of counters, and she has great counters, and I think she should stay in bare knuckle. She did great. She's getting better as a boxer. The camp wasn't, you know, it was good. It was good, but it could be better. I'm a perfectionist, so I'm very critical of my performances. I'm very critical of my training. So it was okay. I got the job done. I already knew what punches to throw on her, what to do. I'm not going to reveal too much. We have a rematch, so I'm not going to give everything. You know, it's not for sure yet, but I mean, everybody wants to see that again because it was stopped by a cut. So it was great, and the crowd was electrifying. The energy, everything in there was huge. Everything felt big. Everything felt like the big stage. It was amazing.
And let's talk a bit about that real quick. So there was the doctor stoppage. How did you feel about that? Did you think it was a little early, or I didn't have any problem with it?
It was a nasty cut.
Yeah, it was a nasty cut. And is the rematch something that you want to just like go right into, or is that something that you maybe see like as far as like a little bit more down the line?
I don't know. You know, you know, there's not much competition right now, so I don't mind doing it in main event. We're main event material. I mean, we are going at it, and we are going to put on a show. So the styles make fights, you know. So me and her, we're both bullheaded. We both want it. We're both willing to sacrifice whatever it is to win. So I think, I don't know if it's next. I haven't talked to them. They haven't spoke to me. I'm going to be at the Nebraska show this weekend. So I'm sure someone will say something, or, you know, something will be said. I don't know. I don't know what Jules is doing. I don't know what David is doing, and Nate. I don't know what they're doing. They're doing their stuff on the business end. They're obviously probably just giving me a little break in between because I had the back-to-back camps. You know, I was preparing for the Albuquerque Knucklemania that got canceled, and then 3 weeks later, I got straight back into a camp. So, I'm not sure. I don't mind it, and I think that, you know, we're going to be super entertaining, and I think it's good for the sport, and I think it's good for the females to see what we bring to the table, the technicalities of it, the strength, the commitment, the drive, and how we just go in there and give it all we got with skill.
And that's something you had alluded to before the fight, and even in our past interview, that how you wanted to get in here with these former UFC fighters and some of these bigger names, and really show that you not only belong, but that you're the top of the top. And I feel like you really showed that in the fight. Like, what does that really mean for you? Like, just to establish yourself as the greatest?
It's a dream come true, and it's something that I've been chasing my whole career. You know, in the beginning, of course, I didn't know where it was going to go, and then I started to feel like I get better, and I knew inside what I desired and what I was willing to work for. So it's all coming together now, and my skill and my dedication are like, I feel at my age and my experience it's like the perfect time for me right now. This is my time to shine. It's my peak. It's my time. So it feels like hard work pays off. You know, you do something for so long, you have your own business, and it's just not working out, and you just want to give up sometimes. I've been there, you know. So getting this position and having this success is just like, damn, I'm so glad I didn't give up, and I'm so glad I kept going, and all the pain, all the sacrifices are worth it.
I was wondering something. I noticed that obviously Conor showed up to the event, which couldn't have worked out better for BKFC as a company because of the eyeballs that guy always brings when he does things. But I did notice he was there for your fight.
Shit.
Did you notice him coming in? Everything okay? You good?
Yeah,
Oh.
go now. Sorry.
Did you notice Conor was there while you were fighting? I'm sure you noticed afterwards. 'Cause, I mean, Bec left the ring for a minute and all, and it's just you know, he's just like the rest of us, except he brings so many eyeballs to the table. Obviously, he's the biggest name in all of combat sports. Did you have any thoughts on that, or what was that a little bit surreal to see him showing up for your fight and then staying through the rest?
Yeah, so I was on deck in the back, so that fight had just got done, or the fight went out, and they're like, okay, you're on deck, you're gonna be up after this fight. So I'm in the back, ready, on deck. And then one of the producers or someone came up to me and said, Conor McGregor's about to show up and watch your fight. And I'm like, what? I thought they were messing with me or something. I was like, whatever. Like, then I see the dude come in and I'm like, oh my God. And I know, like, him and Bec are friends. So I already knew that he was there, and he's on her side, So it was kind of like, oh man, but I kind of forgot when I was walking down, I get in my zone and I walked in and I'm getting ready, getting in. I forgot about him until, when I was in the ring, and then I hear him cornering her. I hear him cornering her. I'm like, oh my God, Conor McGregor's cornering against me right now. And I'm just like, I got to knock her out. So, and then when I went in for my first round, after the first round, if you go back, you'll see me look over, and because I hear him, and then I was like, it was just crazy,
Yeah, that's surreal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm usually zoned into my corner, especially in the middle of a fight, my championship defense, and I'm just look over and I'm like, is this happening? Like, real? So it was crazy. Yeah, that feeling was crazy, and it was amazing for the sport. And he loves it. And he was so excited, and he loved the fights. It's all the people that were there that night, Rose Namajunas, Cerrone. I got to meet Cerrone. I went by, I was shaking everybody's hand. I shook his hand, kept walking because I didn't realize. And someone said, do you know that was Cowboy Cerrone? I was like, my bad, bro.
Oh yeah.
I was not trying to shake your hand because you're seeing a lot of people. So sometimes I just walk by and I'm not really focusing in sometimes on the face.
Yeah.
And I was like, my bad. I've been watching you forever. You're a legend. Da da da.
Yeah.
But at first it was like I just shook his hand like whatever. My God, that's so.
And I feel like that kind of speaks to where the BKFC has come and where it's at now. And how does it feel to, like, not only were you a part of that big moment, but my thoughts was like that fight that you guys had was the biggest fight on the card. Like, yeah, the Eddie Alvarez and Chad Mendes fight was big and the Perry fight was big, but you and Bec put on a show that I felt that none of the other fights really did. And like, just the microscope that was on that single fight, it was just huge for not only you but the sport as a whole.
And it was very consequential. I mean, it's a title defense, the only one on the card. It was, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was getting a lot of questions about that, building up to it. Like, are you mad that you're not the main event? And I'm like, no, man, I'm here for myself, but I'm here for the sport, and I'm here for us to grow. And if it means them to be ahead of me or on the main or the co-main, I don't give a shit where I'm at. I mean, they put me as the feature,
Right.
and I'm up there with them. And whatever makes the sport grow, and we put on a show, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're trying to help the women grow. Me, Bec, all of us in there. That should be part of our goal in our career, because the better bare knuckle does, the better we do.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad about it. We put on a good show. It stopped a little early, but that gives people wanting more. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a perfect ending for me, because then I got people wanting more for us to see a fight. Then it's a main event. Then we could bring more numbers in, more people to the sport, and it was exciting. We bring that energy. Me and her bring that dog out in each other.
I think that this event as a whole is really it brought obviously a lot of eyeballs to the promotion itself. But I think in the combat sports world, in that combat sports bubble, I feel like the BKFC is more respected and more accepted after this. I've never understood a lot of the sometimes the resentment that people try to act like it's barbaric because there's no gloves on. Like, what about elbows and knees and kicks in MMA, for goodness sakes?
Knees to the face, bro.
Right.
That's way more devastating than a fist. We're gonna break here before we break there. That's for damn sure.
Right. I mean, KSI just knocked that dude out last night. Was it with the elbow in the boxing match? You know, but I've been really happy to see that. I've noticed more boxing websites were covered. The BKFC 42 event this past weekend. I noticed the MMA sites were continuing their coverage, which I just think is good because it spreads that word and it just lends a little bit more respect for when the casuals come and they see it. You know what I mean?
And that's what was important about having them as main and co-main. That's why I'm not complaining. I don't care. I got to be on a card that was the most viewed in BKFC history, you know, and probably a breakthrough for BKFC.
Yeah.
So I have no complaints, and they know what they're doing on the business end. You know what I mean? And I've learned that as, you know, getting older as a fighter and more mature in the game, is there are reasons. If I am main event material, I'm gonna be a main event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I people in, they're gonna have me as main event. It's not their responsibility 100% to make sure my following and people are coming to watch my fights. I have to make the fight exciting. I have to have the following. That's the way business goes. This is a business, you know, the business all around. If I want to get paid more, then I better bring in more people. If I want to be the main event, then be main event material.
And I really feel like that's something that you really cashed in on. And with that, like momentum, like what's a like solid timetable where you feel like you want to have your next fight, whether it be Bec or someone else? Like, when do you want to get back in there?
As soon as possible. I'm ready to go all the time. Like, I take I cool it down, you know, in between fights, but still training. I'm still focused. I do a light, you know, train and maintenance, but there's a different level, and I don't want to lose too much momentum. Just like you said, I don't want to lose that momentum in between and keep it going, because 9 months in between, that's a huge break, and that's not something I'm asking for.
Yeah.
I'm ready 3-4 months, you know, 3 months. I'm ready to go. If my hands weren't messed up at all. They weren't even really sore. You know, I didn't really land anything, you know, solid on her. She had some good head movement. She had great counters. She had great movement, but she would have started slowing down 3, 4, 5. I already know I would have had her in the third or fourth, but I would have had her like in a devastating violent fashion. But yeah, I just go ahead. Question. Next question.
Yeah, no, and
Thinking of the fight, I was like thinking of like, damn, she was fading, and I was gonna knock her out.
well, no, and it was heading there for anybody. I feel like although there is this kind of like want for a rematch and there's kind of some unfinished business, I also do think that everyone watching saw where it was going. You know what I mean? Kind of speaking to where you were saying, um, with like that pace that you put on people. I know you talked a little bit about how this training camp was just hard nosed. Is that something that you look forward to just like continuing in your career? Or was this something that you just did for this fight?
I always train hard and stuff, but I wanted this one. I wanted to be prepared to go through war. I wanted to put on. I knew this show was super important. I mean, I want a war every time, but I mean, I don't want to hurt, and I don't want too much damage. I was willing to take a lot of damage this fight. You know, I was willing to get in there. You know, and she's my first UFC. Well, not my first UFC fighter, but first UFC fighter in bare knuckle. I fought Rachel Ostovich previously in Invicta, but this is my actual first UFC fighter in bare knuckle, and you know, I wanted to that level of competition and athleticism being in the UFC. I knew she was going to be tough, and I already knew that she was a tough girl, and I didn't think I think she actually leveled up in her game from previous fights, her counters and her head movement and her movement, she was on point that night. She really was. And I think that I wanted fight of the night, of course. I wanted to outshine the guys, you know, because they're legends, you know. So I was just getting ready in a really savage manner this fight with my sparring partners, and it was terrible. I got the shit beat out of me. So it
Pressure
sucked.
makes diamonds.
Yeah, exactly. It sucked. I hated every time I had to go spar this guy. I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's sparring day. Like, let's go. You know,
Do you spar men and women both, or do you just have like one main male sparring partner, or do you see a difference when you do, you know, one or the other? Or how does that work in?
well, usually I just spar males. I sparred Michaela Mayers. She's the boxing world champion in Colorado. And she's the only one I really let in my camp. But you know, I might open up to future with females and stuff like that a little bit here and there. But it is just men, and I was preparing with Saul. I forgot his last name. I think it's Gomez. Saul Gomez. He was my sparring partner for a long time, and pretty much for my bare knuckle career. And I just prefer men because I never win. You know, they're just so tough, and you are what you spar, you are what you are around. So I have that. You know, girls have a different way. They'll have different movements. I want really really slick, fast movements and power. So I have to hit these dudes hard to get any type of respect.
Sure.
You know, so I feel my power goes up, my reaction time goes up, and my pace is better because I have to keep up with them. And you know, the testosterone and the way you guys are built, you just have better endurance, stamina, more strength, more speed, reaction time's better. So I never win, and I don't ever want to win in sparring, but I win when I get out there. And it's heavy on the mental, and you have to learn to endure that and still be able to have like a positive outlook, even though you're never winning. But it's something that I need for fights, and people need for fights, because say I get cracked, or she's beating me, or she's better than me, or she's faster than me, or something, I need to be able to adjust and teach myself that through sparring men that are better.
And that's what a lot of like people talk about when you're talking about being the champion. There's kind of this narrative that like once you're the champion, everything gets better, whether it's just not only your level but your confidence in there. And I kind of think that speaks to what you're saying, where although you're not winning in the gym, the confidence it gives you once you step in there against somebody that you know is not going through the things you are, it just makes you that much better.
Yeah. And it does give me, because I'm going to be able to push when she can't.
Yeah.
You know, and I took her best shots. If you go back and watch the fight, I took her hardest shots right on the chin. She came up, gave me a good hook on the chin, just right on the chin. It didn't. None of her punches phased me. Like I felt one overhand right that would have hurt a lot of people. Landed flush. I just walked through everything, and it's my sparring. You know, I'm not being dumb in sparring and trying to get hit. You know, but I'm taking hard shots, and I have to be conditioned to take that kind of hit. You know, and it is bare knuckle, so you get dropped faster. You know, you're going to get dropped by a hit faster than you would with a glove. You're not going to be able to take as much from the fist as a glove.
Now, looking at your Instagram, it seems like you're always staying in shape and you're always in training. Or do you take breaks in between camps? Like, do you get a little bit of time to relax a little bit? Or are you out, you know, still hitting the pavement every morning, putting in that road work type of thing?
No, I'm smart. You know, I'm getting older too, so I have to be smart about, you know, letting myself recover, letting my mind recover. And I used to go all the time, just 24/7, boom, boom, boom. But the thing is where am I going to have that break and then have the hunger again? You know, I got to miss it for a minute. You know, I still run and I still shadow box, push-ups, you know, I don't just lay on the couch. You know, I just not my personality. You know, I go crazy. Mental health. You know, I need to run. I need to take care of myself. I pay a nutritionist 12 months out of the year. You know, that I'm still on my diet. I screw up. Like my mom bought pizza the other night. You know, so I was like, fine. I have all my stuff prepped, all my meals prepped and stuff. My girl makes for me, and then they pulled out the pizza. I was like, fine. I gotta relax. I gotta like, you know, I have to like, you know, but not all the time. And I don't want to get super fat and then have to lose a lot of weight. It's harder on the body. But I'll take a week. Like the first week I take off, you know, especially because I have my hands are real bad. Usually after a fight, they're not like broke, but they just get swollen and they're like sensitive to the touch. So I'm not hitting anything. But like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm definitely back, you know, training and stuff.
It seems like you've been picking up a lot of sponsors lately. Is there anybody in particular that you would like to mention or shout out?
Oh yeah, I love Kendra Lust is a huge supporter for the women, and I'm so grateful for her. Lion Locks, Savage Sip, Jason Ferguson, my lawyer, Barbara Orthopedic. They are seriously the best in the business. Every time right before a fight, I definitely go get tuned up and get everything looked at. And these guys are they're. Anytime I have a problem, even in camp, if I have something like I'm sick or something, they'll make sure I'm taken care of, and I'm fixed. Just
Nice.
Barbara Orthopedic, love you guys. KP Painting, and that's pretty much it.
Well, as far as for everybody listening, if they're not following you on social media already, where can they find you?
At Christine Faria, just you know, Christine Faria, and then Misfit Madness on my TikTok, and Facebook is Christine Faria.
Well, man, thank you so much. We know you're busy right now. We appreciate you taking the time out of what I know is a busy weekend to spend a few minutes chatting with us. I know our listeners appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. We really are big fans of yours, Christina. We love watching you fight. Congratulations again on the big win.
Thank
Dude, it's always good to talk to the champ.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to thank Christina for coming on again.
Wondering what's next for her fight-wise, we don't know.
Yeah, but what we do know is she will be at BKFC 43 out in Omaha this weekend.
That's right.
We got Houston Alexander taking on
Smith. Excuse me, sorry. Jeremy Smith, who is 3-1. He's currently the number 3 ranked cruiserweight. I like how they're building these Omaha cards around Houston Alexander. You know, we know when he was on the show just a couple months ago after his last victory, we talked a bit about how much he loves his home city. He loves Nebraska. He loves Omaha. He's well known in the city for all the different things that he's doing. So
yeah, he's well immersed in the community as well.
yeah, and we know he's going to obviously have a lot of support here. And I'm just going to come right out and say it. Like, I'm openly rooting for Alexander here. I mean, he's 51 years old, dude.
And this is definitely a title eliminator when you talk about these two guys.
Yeah, he's
both 2 and 3 at the cruiserweight. I mean,
yeah, because Houston's ranked number 2 at cruiserweight. He's actually ranked number 5 at heavyweight, also, and 5 on pound for pound.
Yeah,
and like you just said, Jeremy is number 3 at cruiserweight, so a definite title eliminator. Jeremy's only 28 though.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to obviously come in with that incredible youth advantage. But Houston has shown absolutely no signs of age being any type of factor thus far in his fights.
He really hasn't shown any weakness whatsoever.
There's a reason he's number 5 on that pound for pound.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe he was 51 unless we're sitting here telling you if you look at him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in incredible shape.
Mm-hmm.
This is, you know, his age has nothing to do with his physical condition.
Yeah, and
which is
obviously a lifetime martial artist, so you know his game is down pack, and he's seen it all. You know, so this is going to be big for him. This is his moment. I truly feel. I think this is his chance to claim that title shot against Lorenzo Hunt, and then also to put on a great show in front of his hometown fans.
Yes, I am really, really looking forward to this fight. Now, Jeremy Smith is dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, he's a little bit shorter. He's coming in at 5'10", but he has had a very busy 2022. He had 3 victories starting in April of 2022. He had a victory against Devon Green, then he fought Donald Sanchez in August, and then in December, another fight against was Leo Valdeva, I believe, and strong showings in each of them. 3 fights in a year in BKFC is a lot,
Yeah.
especially when you look at like, Christine, who we were just talking to. She's on a 5-fight win streak. She's 7-1 overall, 8 fights in the BKFC, and she is one of the most tenured fighters right now.
Yeah.
Like she's just a fight or two away from the record. So 3 fights in a year is pretty big. Dangerous opponent. Out of pure fan love for Houston Alexander, of course, I'm picking him to win.
Yeah, I'm taking Houston as well.
The rest of the card, as always, is an exciting, a lot of exciting matchups. There's too much to really go over on the card with a lot of fighters, but we do want to encourage everybody, if you haven't seen the BKFC shit, you should really get on it. It's the app of the price of the app, I'm sorry, has gone up a whopping $2, so it's $7.99 right now.
Oh,
It's still
no.
the best deal in combat sports.
Yeah, and one thing is sometimes in BKFC you're not always going to know exactly who like some of these guys are because it's such a young sport. But one thing that I can guarantee is every single fight will have action and entertaining moments.
Yes, and you're going to catch a mix of like raw fights and raw talent, and as the card progresses, you're going to see more and more skilled and
And
technical
nuance, yeah.
fighters and nuanced fights happening. It's a really good time, and it's always action packed.
Yes, sir.
And unless they're putting on big events like BKFC 41, everything's included, which are now what, $8 a month. So, but even that 41, it was offered to subscribers for half off. So it was, dude, it was $25, which was
Yeah.
like, are you kidding? That was a
Easy
great
money.
deal.
Take it.
So, and by the way, BKFC is not a sponsor of this show. This is a fucking just a fan endorsement here of the product. So, to wrap up the UFC and MMA action before we have a little bit of boxing talk, we do have a card which we have the always tough Angela Hill fighting your girl Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting because I think Mackenzie obviously wants to get this to the ground ASAP, but Angela has shown over time that she is just constantly getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
She's one of those fighters that kind of found Muay Thai and mixed martial arts later in life and has just like kind of hit the ground running. Whereas Mackenzie's more been immersed in the culture of jiu-jitsu and combat sports since a young age. So this is kind of an interesting matchup when you think about not only skills wise, but background and history within the game. So I don't know. It's really hard for me to pick against Dern in this situation just because her jiu-jitsu is so elite. But Angela Hill is one of the best.
Dude,
of the
people might
best.
get fooled by Angela Hill's record because it's like she has 15 wins, 12 losses. You might be like, this girl sucks. Don't be fooled. So many of Angela's losses are very controversial split decisions. Plus, she's basically the Donald Cerrone of the women's divisions, meaning that she's always taking fights.
Yeah.
She's taking fights on short
She's
notice
there, she's down.
and losing controversial split decisions in a lot of those cases. Like her record could easily look completely different. So don't be fooled. She's an incredibly tough fighter. I think this is a really tough test for Dern.
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, with her jiu-jitsu experience, she's looking to get it on the ground because I think Hill will piece her up on the feet. She's just too tough, and I'm actually picking Hill to win this in an upset. I think she's going to go out. I think she's hungry. I think the state of her fights has made her, but all these close losses has made her anxious to get some respect on her name, and I think
Yeah.
we're going to see that.
I think Dern is in a situation where she's coming off probably the biggest fight of her career and ends up losing. That this is her chance to make a statement and really show that she's here to stay. Another fight that's on there as well as a co-main event at middleweight. We got Anthony Fluffy Hernandez taking on Edmund Shabazian. It's a pretty tough fight. I think both guys are kind of in a spot where it's do or die. Shabazian, ends up getting back on track in the last couple fights, but has still yet to really assert himself as that, dominant up and coming fighter that we once thought he was, and I think when you look at Fluffy's side of it, coming off the contender series, you know, having some really good performances early in his UFC career has really put him in a place where he is becoming more and more respected as as a fighter and as someone who's going to be sticking around. And I think
Yeah.
this is a really big chance for him to, further that.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. He wised up. He got rid of the coach I hate the most in all of mixed martial arts, which is Edmund Tarverdian.
Mm-hmm.
He got out of that camp, but he's got to get a fucking victory here.
Yeah, it's a must win.
He's
I think it's really a must win for both guys. Who are you taking?
I'm just gonna go with Shabazi in here. I think he's doing the right things. The guy had a lot of talent. He was just kind of stuck in this spot in that camp over there, that Glendale Fight Club, which just ruins fighters over there. But I think he got out in time. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I like Shabazian, but I think this is Hernandez's chance to really get a good name on his resume.
Well, the rest of the card is, it is what it is for a fight night card.
Some
If you're a
names.
big
Got
fan of
Joaquin
mixed martial
Buckley on
arts, you
there.
like it. Joaquin's good.
Yeah, Michael Johnson, Diego Ferea. It's pretty solid. Just some, pretty good ones. But some stuff I would like to talk about is we have had some things going on in the boxing world as of the last couple weeks.
Dude, especially this past weekend. This past weekend was kind of
Very
a
strange.
fucking mar on boxing. It was not a good look in a legit fight and in a bullshit promotion that just made itself look even worse.
Yeah.
But what did you want to talk about?
I think first we should talk about what happened overseas. KSI, Joe Fournier.
Yeah, look, for those of you that don't know, I mean, KSA started this little promotion called Misfits Boxing, and they teamed up with DAZN, and they're putting these fucking things on, which are it's freak show boxing. It's nothing new. It's the shit. I mean, fucking
It's YouTuber boxing. It's a whole bunch of YouTubers.
yeah, it's a whole bunch of YouTubers led by KSI.
Yeah.
And Fortner is like sort of a pro boxer, half-assed. Let's be real, but he got done dirty. KSI landed a clear elbow. I mean, he lands like a decent shot prior to that, and then he KO'd him with a blatant elbow, like everybody can see it. And this joke of a promotion instead just shoves it aside like it didn't happen. KSI literally denies it in the post fight. Like, bro, you felt that on your shit, homie. There's no way you didn't feel that.
I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think it was intentional. I think it's more of a no.
No, it was a terrible punch that he missed. Let's get real. He didn't intentionally.
Yeah, he didn't like throw
like
an elbow.
a Mike Tyson level sneaky elbow in there.
Yeah,
the dude he threw a terrible fucking right hand, missed,
slipped,
and then clearly cracked him with the fucking elbow.
Yeah,
like there's no way he didn't feel it. It was obvious. Like Fortner was like, dude, I felt bone, motherfucker.
Yeah,
like he's rightly furious. It should be a no contest. It's not a KO victory.
Yeah. I think a no contest is the way to go with it. I do think that as the guy who won, he was trying to save face by just not be like, nah, I just knocked him out, I also do think it also was a big reason why was he was trying to set up the fight with Tommy Fury, which he attempted to at the end. They faced off. Clearly everything was planned out. Going forward, I think Tommy Fury beats the fuck out of him.
Oh Jesus!
If we're being honest,
Jake Paul would beat this dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think Jake beats him. Yeah,
he didn't look crisp in there. He didn't look crispy at all.
He barely beat Logan when he beat Logan.
And Logan sucks, man. Jake Paul's way better than Logan, and I fucking hate Jake Paul. I'm always talking shit.
Yeah,
you smoke his brother.
Yeah,
I mean, Jake's a novice. He's all right. He'll fuck KSI up.
I agree.
Tommy Fury but he won't have a chance because Tommy Fury will melt him.
Yeah, Tommy Fury will melt him and probably beat Jake again. That's probably his
I mean, that should have been a split decision when Tommy beat Jake. That was a clear victory. I just didn't see that as a split at all. But whatever. I don't watch this shit, but it's bringing eyeballs, and when something that blatantly bad happens, it's just bad for the whole sport, man. Like they have to fucking fix that. Whatever commission was in charge of that nonsense
wasn't
in
a
the
commission.
promotion itself, because they're giving away some stupid ass belt for this thing. I mean,
Yeah,
come
there
on now.
wasn't a commission though. That's the thing. It's
And KSI is the promoter as well. So you're
Yeah.
looking at where somebody in Fortner's position, he's losing by an illegal shot. The
To the
promotion's
promoter.
not doing anything in the main event against the promoter. It's
Yeah.
a bad look.
yeah, it's a pretty rough look.
Well, we did have a real boxing match this past weekend as well. We had Romero versus Barroso.
Yeah, very controversial.
Yeah. Tony
Very
Weeks was the
Very
referee, and in the 9th round, did the craziest stoppage I've ever seen, really,
Yeah.
in a fight of this level. I mean, I'm trying to think of
I think
any
how-
fight I've seen that happen.
Yeah, it was very, very strange. I think at best it was a standing 8. Like
And that would have been
at
violent.
best.
Really?
I mean, I could see like I think Romero landed a good shot that kind of buckled him, but it wasn't like he like
Well,
buckled him and then just like kept landing unanswered
And let's set the
punches.
stage a little bit. I mean, Romero had been dropped in the 3rd round, and then he was just pretty much blah the whole rest of the fight. I mean, most of the scorecards that I saw on the sites I was following had him down, 78, 73, 79, 72. I mean, that obviously those aren't official scores, but he was
Yeah.
not doing well. He'd only won at best a couple rounds.
Mm.
In round 9, yeah, he starts landing some fucking power shots there. You're right. And he called a knockdown. It was kind of a shove, Weeks did, but he stopped the fight on an absolutely. I don't understand what he saw there.
Yeah.
I've looked at it. I mean, go on Twitter. There's video everywhere if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I was not sure of what was going on there. Ultimately, now Romero wins the title. He's with the WBA super
It's the
lightweight.
WBA junior welterweight title. I mean, Romero did say he thought the fight should have been, continued as well. It's not
Yeah.
Romero's fault.
Yeah, no,
it's this
no
type
one-
of thing that it looks like a payoff. How does that not look like a payoff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got yeah.
I would have thought a standing 8 count was crazy there. I'd have been like, "Are you nuts?" But okay. Like
It's very strange.
he didn't go down. He was not out on his feet. He did not take a lot of He at best took like 2 or 3 hard shots. And
Yeah.
seemed fine.
He landed a combo on him, and it was like Weeks was like, "Oh, that's all you needed to see." And I'm very dumbfounded by that call, but I guess it is what it is. They could run it back. I'd imagine as the champion, maybe he had some kind of rematch clause.
No, it doesn't seem to be, because Romero's already talking about moving on. He wants a rematch with Tank, but he's calling for a 140 bout with Ryan Garcia.
I'll take that.
Obviously, Barroso is very upset. They don't understand what happened.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think he's not got anything for Ryan Garcia, Tank, Devin Haney, none of those guys.
Now, Jim Gray, after the fight, who was the interviewer, he tried to get both Tony Weeks and the head of the Nevada Athletic Commission to come on, but he said they, quote, refused to come on camera after that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's hope this doesn't keep happening.
Well, and there's really in this situation too, there's really nothing that Barroso's team can do. Like they can't really like sometimes when there's a stoppage in which some kind of foul is made, you can get some kind of appeal.
Like the Fortner, he has a case of getting that overturned to a
Yeah.
disqualification.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Where
nothing here.
this is a situation where you just got screwed and there's nothing you can do about it.
Tony Weeks should have to answer for this.
Absolutely. I don't know what he saw there. Like the knockdown, kind of shove, whatever. Those happen. Those calls happen.
Yeah.
But to then turn it around and wave the fight off, like that's where the only place I can maybe think he was in was maybe he thought after that knockdown that he was more compromised, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he thought he was compromised. I don't really know what the fuck he was thinking there, to be honest. That's really what it boils down to.
It's really, really hard to find a justification for it. I mean,
Yeah. When even Romero was just like, yeah, it is what it is, bro. Let's keep
basically,
moving.
I mean, if you check out Twitter, everybody, George Campos's Jr. is like, what the fuck is that? Ryan Garcia is like, wow, that was dirty.
Mhm.
You know, Clarissa Shields said boxing took an L tonight. That shit was pathetic.
Mhm.
Pretty much across the board, no one is defending this except maybe Romero, and you got to kind of figure.
And
he
he's not
has
really
to.
even like defending it either. He's just like, I won. What do you want to do about it?
Yeah. Well, let's hope that this is a one-off. Oh, that sounds dumb to say. It's boxing. It's not going to be a one-off. Let's just hope we don't get more of this. We need less of this in the future. We need none, but that's not realistic.
Yeah.
We need less.
Less, yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Yep. Well, I think that about wraps up our show for today.
Do want to thank the champ, Christine Faria, for coming on the show again. It's always a pleasure to talk with her. We want to thank Binoid CBD for sponsoring the podcast. You can get good deals on CBD and Delta 9 THC products. Where are they at, Paul?
SWAT MMA.com, where you can head over there. Also, click the gear button. Buy this t-shirt right here. Support the podcast. Then head over to Instagram and follow us at SWAT MMA Podcast.
Peace.
Peace.